Welcome, all you loyal listeners, to an episode of Hard Questions, Tougher Answers.
Was that a question?
Sean, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're going to be discussing?
So here at Hard Questions, Tougher Answers, we are a podcast devoted to answering the world's most out-of-the-box questions that everyone is dying to know the answers to.
Yeah. Perhaps you might be dying to know these answers so badly that you didn't even know the question existed.
Exactly. And no matter what we ask, you're always going to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. There are no easy questions here. So before we get started, I am Sean, and I am joined by my fellow co-host, Eric.
Greetings, everybody.
And Ethan.
Hey, everybody.
All right, so enough chit-chat. Let's just get straight to it. The first question of the episode is, would you rather every night have to throw up and be racked with dry heaves before you go to bed, or every morning you have to get up and lay an egg?
So that's not an easy question to answer. Let's delve a little bit deeper into the matter, and Sean can give us some answers. So, what exactly is in this egg?
Yolk.
Just yolk. So there's a certain degree of convenience for this, given that I eat eggs every morning for breakfast. So, but let's talk about the process of laying egg.
Yeah, is the whole process painful, or is it just, I'm just going to squat down like a chicken and lay my daily egg?
Well, there's no easy question, so there will be some pain involved. So you will have to squat down, but it will not be a pleasant little segment for you.
All right.
Or little event for you.
So another clarification. Where exactly is this egg coming out of?
Also, another question that I have, what degree of severity the pain is? Are we talking like I'm hitting my thumb with a hammer? Or are we talking like pregnancy pain every morning?
Pregnancy pain isn't really that bad, I've heard.
Well, the girls are just overreacting
They're
with
just
that. Bunch of drama queens.
Dramatic.
You just got to breathe and push. Jesus.
Yeah.
People have been doing it for thousands of years.
Jeez.
So as far as the first question was the process of it, or? So
my question was, where exactly is this egg coming out of?
It's coming out of your butt.
Okay, all right. That was the obvious answer.
As for the pain, it's not too bad, but it's probably like a 5 out of 1 out of 10. So it's not pleasant. It's not going to ruin your day, but you're not looking forward to it, and it's something that you can't really take your mind off. It's not like stubbing your toe because it's going to be an ongoing process. You have to work this egg out of you. So it's kind of just taking a big unpleasant number 2, I would suppose.
Now, is this like clockwork every day? Like your alarm goes off, I got to sit down and I got to squat this thing out? Or how long exactly is this process so I can, get my day rolling normally?
It's pretty much right after you wake up. So you're basically like a chicken. So you wake up, and as soon as you wake up, it's not like right off the bat, but you're going to need to go roost yourself pretty soon.
So we're talking like within 30 minutes, there's going to be an egg that comes out.
That's correct.
Interesting. So on the flip side of that, the other option, you can't beat the convenience of having a fresh egg every morning to eat. I don't know how I feel about eating my own egg. I prefer chicken eggs, so this would be a little unusual.
Yeah, do they taste the same?
No, they don't taste like chicken eggs. I mean, every egg tastes different. You got ostrich eggs, turtle eggs,
fish eggs.
So it would
Also
taste
known
like
as
if
escargot.
humans laid an egg, it would taste like that. So it's not.
Right.
It's not exactly. It's not like any known egg, but it is edible. But it's not the best.
So we are discussing the possibility of eating our own egg.
Well, we're not even discussing that. We're discussing, do we want to squat down and be in pain every morning getting this egg out, or do we want to be throwing up all night and eventually going to dry heaves before we fall asleep?
Jeez, I'm trying to focus on the positives here.
There are no positives.
Okay, So, all right. So the official ruling is that this is not an egg that we would eat by any social norm.
No, you're not going to find this in grocery stores or served in a restaurant.
Right. Okay. So the alternative option was the idea that every night before we go to bed, we would have to vomit profusely for a certain period of time.
Right, probably like 5 or so minutes. You throw what's in your stomach, and then you have 1 or 2 minutes of just like dry heaves. Very unpleasant. Paralyzing, in fact.
Yeah. Yeah, I gathered that. So same pain level as the egg.
Well, most people have thrown up, so you know what it's like.
Well, there are varying degrees of
so this is after
vomiting.
like a bad night of drinking.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like sick or flu throwing up. It's just like you can feel it coming a while before you're like, well, it's time to throw up and then go to bed. So you have a couple big, get your stomach out there, but then you're still kind of stuck there for 1 or 2 minutes. Just your body's kind of racked with these dry heaves, and then you feel comfortable, and you can just go to bed and go about your life.
So what's it like again? Okay. Right.
What do you say, Eric? What are you leaning towards initially here?
I think I just want to avoid the weirdness of laying an egg. I go with the vomiting. I can take it.
Yeah, if we're just talking, let's just to the great limit of it, 10 minutes. You throw up for a good 5 minutes, and then you dry heat for another 5, and then you're set, and you're going to go to bed. I'd much rather do that than squat down my first 30 minutes and hemorrhage out an egg.
That being said, I'm going to change my answer. There is a certain degree of relief that comes from producing
That's true.
a turd or an egg-sized turd, for example.
And there's a feeling of accomplishment that you've done something.
Exactly. Whereas the dry heaving, as I believe you first described it, it leaves you very unsatisfied when you've not actually removed anything.
Yes.
So
and also, there's no like calm going to bed. There's no
exactly.
We had a nice night watching movies. We've had popcorn. We're getting a little sleepy. Let's go up to bed. Oh God, kill me.
But at the same time, there will never again be any sleeping in and enjoying your Saturday mornings because you'll be producing an egg.
You can sleep in as long as you want. It's just whenever you happen to wake up, the egg laying process has begun. So you don't need to set your alarm. Whether you get up at 7 a.m., 10 a.m., the egg starts when you get up.
Egg it is.
Is it really accomplishing, though, laying an egg?
In a strange way, I suppose.
But it's not an egg that we would commonly eat. It's not.
But it's out of you.
But
and
it's not the best egg.
Look,
why would you want to eat that?
Look, my wife gave birth to a child, and she said the moment he was out of her, it was this tremendous sense of relief and accomplishment.
But imagine that happening every day. Wouldn't it get old? And plus, what you're not thinking is you can't. This isn't like sitting on a toilet. You're gonna have to build like a little nest or something for this, because you can't flush this thing down the toilet. It's too big. So
and you're not gonna eat it. Let's be honest. You rather have a chicken egg from the store.
You are correct. I would not eat anything that came out of my butt.
So where are all these eggs gonna go? I'm still leaning towards the throwing up. I mean, you're talking 10 minutes
sticking
tops.
with the egg. I'm going to get into a routine, and it's just going to be like, have my coffee, read my newspaper, lay an egg, go to work. Done.
It's not like an easy process, though. I mean, you need to, chickens, they need to work it out a little bit.
Right. Based on your chicken expertise.
Exactly, yeah. I've eaten numerous chickens and eggs. But it's not something like you can just, bring your newspaper or your iPhone. You're going to be gripping the handles, and you're going to need to work this bastard out.
I'll get into a routine. Don't worry about it. I'm sticking with my egg, Ethan.
I will stick with the 10 minutes of unpleasantry and hang around the porcelain gods a little bit.
Very well.
So our final answer is, Eric, you are laying an egg, and Ethan is throwing up. So we got a split decision there. So you listeners, let us know what you would do. Would you rather throw up every night before going to bed, or would you like to lay a nice little egg every morning?
Not a little egg.
It's a big old egg.
We were very clear.
Yes, it's very big and unpleasant.
Although I'd say a chicken egg would probably be pretty unpleasant.
Right, this is several times bigger than that. Every day for the rest of your life.
I switched to vomiting.
And we're united. All right, so that's my question for this episode. So now Ethan has his own little quandary for us to figure out.
Yeah, let me come up with something good here. So my question to y'all, let's go with something fairly PG, or maybe even G. Would you rather lose the ability to speak, or would you have to say all your thoughts out loud?
Ooh, so you have to either be mute, or you have like no filter at all. Is that correct? And you just think whatever is in your mind.
Yeah, whatever thought comes to your mind, you blurt it out. There's no filter.
So here's the bottom line. There's a lot of filthy shit that goes through my head. That's all I have to say right there.
Yeah, I mean, not being able to speak, obviously we couldn't follow our passions, our lifelong passions in life and podcasts anymore. But, I mean, there are mutes out there.
Yeah.
Who, I guess, can live.
No.
But then you have to do sign language and shit.
It's hard.
Ain't no one got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
Braille's for blind people. Fuck you.
Every thought that comes to your mind, you have to speak it.
Right. So here's my thing. Like, out of all the disabilities, like not being able to speak, not being able to see, what is it? Deaf, dumb, or deaf, blind, and mute. I think being mute is kind of the weirdest one. It's like, ew, get away from me. Why can't you talk? You know, like blind people. Okay, he's just blind. Mute. What the fuck is wrong with you? But
yeah, it'd be odd because you can talk to the person, you know they can hear you, but then they just won't answer back.
Right. On the other hand, there is a degree to which speaking your mind, maybe not so much to this extent, but to a degree, speaking your mind is a good thing.
To a degree. As you said, any guy, I'm pretty sure everybody, throughout the day, they have some inappropriate thoughts that they don't want their friends, family, peers to know about.
And they learn how to control that over time. It's like a superpower.
But, you know, when you're controlling it, the subconscious mind is still producing that thought. So it has to come out.
Are you aware of it? Like, are you talking, you go to eat some food or something, you go to McDonald's, be like, can I have 2 McDoubles? Holy God, you are ugly and disgusting. Oops, I just said that. I'm sorry. You are still disgusting. Please go away. Like, are you responding, or do you just speak it and then that's the end of it?
Run that by me again.
So do you say, like, do you know you're saying something inappropriate? Like, you'd be like, miss, do you know directions to the museum? By the way, nice shrooms. Oh, God, I just said that.
Right. Do you, like, have to be embarrassed and realize that you said it, or do you just say it and then you don't care because there's no social implications?
You definitely know that you're saying it, and yeah, you have to follow the...
can't resist
you
the
cannot
urge
resist.
to say what's on your mind.
Like, saying you're walking...
Look at those knockers.
Exactly. You're walking down the sidewalk, and some pretty girl walks, behind you, and you do a little double take. It's like, whoa, damn, girl.
And then immediately follow up with, oh, God, I'm sorry I said that, but still. My point stands. God, that's hard, because losing the ability to communicate, that just separates you to a certain degree. But you get to wonder, is it worth the embarrassment? Could you hold down a job? I guess if you worked, you'd have to get a job, like, if you worked at home or something and you didn't have to, like, call people on the phone.
So is this a disability? Could I collect Social Security insurance for this?
No, you cannot. It's just
a problem that I have.
you just have a problem. It's only you, and you can't mooch off the government for it.
You can never really lie. That's another thing,
right?
Because if someone asks you a question, does this make me look fat? You say no. But even like, if you're in any situation, even if you're joking or, like I said, every single thought that comes to mind, you would still blurt it out.
But at the same time, I still think you would eventually learn how to control your superpower or your super disability.
That's the point. You
it's
can't
really
control
not a power. It's a disability. Let's be honest.
You can deal with it, but you're still going to do it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there has to be a way that we wouldn't be able to conceptualize to suppress that subconscious thought.
Can you gag yourself?
Yes, you have to. You can't not gag yourself. You can't not just like cover up your mouth.
All right, I will allow some muffling, but depending on the severity or like if it's something that really has to come out, it's getting out.
Right.
And again, like I'm upping the ante on the mute side. There is no way you can communicate. Like if you're gonna if you're deaf and you have to sign, that's what you're doing. You're speaking your mind. If you're mute, there's no way you're communicating.
Okay, so it's just zero communications. You can't write down on a sticky note. You can't use sign language or anything.
If you're writing it down, you're speaking your mind out loud.
Even as the mute option?
Out loud?
No, the mute is not allowed to communicate at all.
Got it. So he's
okay. So even if you're typing an email to someone, you'd be like, "Hey, the part's gonna be late. By the way, I kind of think you're a bitch the way that you talk to people." Something like that. You're just, no matter how you communicate with somebody, whatever thought is on your mind, and you're like, "I need the following groceries." Blah 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 blah. You just write that down.
Correct.
Jesus. Oh,
and
I still think that you could work with that and still have a better life.
Yeah.
Than not being able to communicate. I think you might be able to...
But, I mean, not being able to communicate, you're damning yourself to a life of seclusion, essentially. I mean, without communication, we are nothing. We all live in silos.
Right, but at the same time, you might drive everybody away from you because you have your loved ones, and eventually you'll be like, ugh, I'm not attracted to you anymore.
But they're... The person that can't communicate or the person that speaks their mind?
The person who speaks their mind.
Right.
Like, even if they don't mean it, or even if it just the thought pops into your mind, you have to say it.
Yeah, but there are people who would accept that. I guarantee you.
Right. But it would still be hard, especially like if you just meet somebody.
You'd have a social clique, probably slightly smaller than ours.
Right.
Our current social clique. But there would be people who accept you. It might be one or two.
Okay. But God, can you imagine like the awkward, like you say, around the family table?
That would also be a huge relief to just be able to speak your mind, To be forced to speak your mind.
Okay, so you'd be willing to like write down like the past 30 minutes, everything you've thought, and then call your mom and say like, hey, this is what I've been thinking about.
Maybe.
Okay, well, I mean, regardless, I would rather live with that than not be able to talk to anybody.
Agreed.
Again, I think you can find a way to live with that somehow. It would be awkward as hell. You'd probably make a lot of enemies. You'd probably lose friends and loved ones.
You'd probably get beaten up a lot, too.
Oh, yeah. Guy's guy looks like punk bitch.
Look at that ass. What the fuck did you say?
You talking to my girlfriend? Yes.
Yeah.
As I said, she's got a nice ass.
Right.
Also, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're both in agreement that we would rather go with the just speak everything on your mind, no filter option, rather than the mute option.
Agreed. Although it took us a lot of discussion to come to that.
Yeah, I would, to finalize the discussion on that, I would have to agree with you. There's just no way that I could go the rest of my life and not be able to communicate some sort of way my thoughts or how I'm feeling and not have that reciprocated and then also letting them know how I feel about that. It's just impossible. Right. So it's speaking your mind all the way.
All right, so I guess both questions we eventually arrived at a unified result. Again, listeners, let us know what you feel about that question. Would you rather be mute for the rest of your life, or would you rather speak absolutely every single thought that comes to mind?
Well, guys, that'll wrap up this discussion of our episode. Thanks again for listening.
If you would like to reach us, send feedback or comments about the questions we talked about in this episode, or if you have ideas for your own questions, you can reach us at our Gmail, HQTA Podcast@gmail.com. You can also reach us on Twitter and Instagram. Our username is, of course, HQTA Podcast. So get in touch with us and tell your friends and fuck off. And keep it real, everybody.
Later.
See ya.
Bye. Let me drop a little outro beat.
HQTA Podcast is where we talk about podcast shit.
Bye, y'all.